Ancient.
Hello everybody, I am Erminio, also known as Sam Lambert. May I invite you to a bit of a journey where I shoot off my mouth a bit about how I feel Luigi's Mansion, the first one, released on Nintendo GameCube in 2001, is an accurate metaphor for many mechanics of real life. So, imagine this. You just got something and it says, you want a free mansion. Would you take it? Or would you at least go in it? Since it turns out that Mario went in and he never came out. So Luigi goes in after him. He finds very strange things happening before his very eyes. Which then he meets a man named Egad, which then takes him back to his lab to show how things are done with the invention called Poltergeist 3000, which Luigi will be using to capture the ghost. So let's parallel Luigi supposedly winning a mansion and going in it. Right, so imagine in real life you went to a concert and you bought some merch. Now let me explain this. So there is a mechanic called overall resonance or overall mixed resonance. So I find it very interesting that in Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, that in the level construction yard, that is the one level where you can go inside of a workshop and you mix colors and make new ones. And as you know, putting two together makes a third one that neither of the first two can do. The same thing applies to frequencies. You can get frequencies for sounds, light photons, and EMFs, and so on. Also, the ley line you're living on. So imagine this. The merchandise you got from that concert, it felt fine to you where you were. But then when you took it home, weird things started happening. Another way to put this would be, you start your day at home, you feel fine, then you go out to eat, you feel fine eating in there, but then when you get home, you notice you're feeling problematic. The overall resonance of what you just ate, plus the conditions and how it feels to be at your house, going together makes a whole other thing that neither of those two by themselves can do. So that's one thing. Now, throughout the game, you will pick up clues, things that Mario's left behind, right? And then you go visit a character, Madame Clairvoyant. So, let me explain the reality of this. Yes, you can pick up vibrations stored from objects. So objects have two things. One is the natural resonance frequency of an object, which stays the same regardless of the second part, which is what I like to call the temporary frequency, which is what you can change out. There's a thing that I do before I go for a walk. I put my hand on my door handle and then I think a certain thing and then I store it on there. When I come back, I make sure that it still feels that way. Moving on, we have a character named Melody. As you can see, she's very ecstatic about the music she's playing, but Luigi doesn't seem to share that. So let me explain another mechanic of real life. Especially now in today's world of where you can do stuff digitally, such as producing things digitally, EQ, reverberation, stereo widening, etc. So what can happen here is the overall resonance of what you're feeling plus what's going on there is not necessarily being captured into the product being produced in the audio file digitally. So there's a lot of things that could be potentially missed out on, and you have mystery value. Other way this could happen is that you could just make something with a melody you thought in your head, and the amplitude modulation, which by the way, that is fluctuations in amplitude where you can think of something, and let's say I'm thinking of something right now as I'm talking, so you're gonna pick up those fluctuations in this unless I decide to DAM it, which I have a video for. So I suppose in a way, your brain can do what is the equivalent of AI recreating something and leaving out the amplitude fluctuations. But you still pull through that melody as you record it. So it's very possible, yes. You could have been home when you found the melody, but when you got to the studio, you still carried on as it's the same, but it's possible that maybe, just maybe, depending on whatever you had that going on or not, you may have the AMs, you may have some of the AMs, you may have all, but you, of course, you still have the influence of the ley line that you're on too, or it may have been reconstructed in a way, and the AMs may not be thought of or be carried at the time. Depends if you're exposed to sound, which can then rearrange the temporary frequency here. You notice that as you progress through the mansion, like so many video games, it gets harder and harder. Now, Splinter Cell wise, that does make sense, as there is a certain mission in one of the games where the guys start rocking thermal vision, as the guards before did not. But what if this is an accurate metaphor for how Luigi has been storing so many things in his vacuum cleaner that now, overall resonance-wise, there's more potential for more things to happen and come into mixing. Maybe that's the reason why certain places become more and more unbearable to live in, because people keep collecting all these different things. And sure, at the store the object felt fine, but the overall resonance, thanks to that, the way it feels at home, oh boy, you're getting a whole different mixed color here. Just not fitted for it. Now, you've seen that Mario is trapped in a painting. This is an accurate metaphor for how people have lived a certain way for so long that now they're basically consumed in a way. And they're trapped in a way. You also notice that before you find Mario, you have to make your way down a well. Now, in my Let's Play, the first Let's Play I did of this game, I call it The Stench of King Boo. So, yes, as you put vibes out, you can leave a potential trail. Not necessarily, depends on your conditions to make it more so of a trail and what you consider to be a solid trail or halfway. As you keep changing the temporary frequency of something to be like Mario screaming for help, then Luigi tracks it down. That's another way to put the word stench. So you notice as you talk to Madame Clairvoyant that there's something going on with Bowser being around. And oh yeah, Bowser got revived, right? Well, talk about overall resonance. So maybe Bowser by himself can't really do anything here, but when he's combined with King Boo, it's a whole nother thing. Also, let's go back to Madame Clairvoyant. So you notice how she can only pick up so much from these objects, right? So yeah, depending on how you do it, such as a surface scan, or if you want to go deep within, and this whole thing of like how to flatten the temporary frequency is a whole nother story. But yeah, the object can only hold so much. It's not like Mario just had a reel of scotch tape and just put the vibes on there. Which, by the way, yes, they could be any material, although the natural resonance frequency may be different. But yes, you can actually record vibes that way, on a reel of anything. And if you want to talk about cursed tapes, oh yeah, there you go. Tape's an excellent way to do it. Let me tell you about another mechanic of real life. You notice how like this mansion has a lot of different things. Like you have a wardrobe room where clothes are stored, and you have a bedroom that does not have clothes stored in it, right? Well, there's a good reason for that. So, sound waves, light photons, etc. can bounce off of objects according to the natural resonance frequency they're on. So, in other words, taking off your shirt is not necessarily going to cut it, since things can reflect off it and you can feel it that way. Yes, I know there is a difference between actually wearing it and still feeling the reflection of it. Feeling the reflection is at least amplitude modulation. And the other thing I like to dub as immediate AM is, say, when you're pinching yourself and then you take your finger off and now you're no longer feeling the pain. Oh, I'm pinching myself again. Ouch, it hurts. Oh, now I took my fingernail off. Now it doesn't anymore. I like to refer to that as immediate AM. So think about it. You have all these particles, you have all these different objects around you reflecting their natural resonance frequency to you via sound waves, light, photons, etc. So that's another way of having, metaphorically, a haunted house. It's a good thing that Egad has a separate place for his portraits. I mean, if the man slept in the same room as his portraits, he'd probably have a hard time sleeping, to be honest. You also notice that all 50 of the boos who escape at a certain point in the game all have a unique name, another metaphor for how you can have the same object but different temporary frequencies attached to it. The other thing is, you notice how these rooms, when you go in them, they're quiet at first, but after a while Luigi being around and ghosts start popping up. That's another metaphor for overall resonance. Blowing out the candles, like here, with the purple ones, is a metaphor for the lack of maintenance in a certain way, like say a lack of blessings or a lack of energy, which the more energy you have is all the more soldiers you have to turn from good or bad, temporary frequency wise. So you could say that these candles maintained the fort of these positive soldiers, but then when you blew them out, then these negative soldiers had a place to thrive. See also when the power goes out. And I understand that, yeah, even if you do turn on the lights metaphorically in real life, that a lot of bad frequencies still exist. Oh, I know. I study this, so I know that just turning on the lights is not gonna, or just putting on a positive vibe is not necessarily going to stop this. And that is, given that the object is still going to feel the way it does no matter what you do with it, versus other situations where something feels the way it does because of overall resonance. And by you turning on the lights, turning up the volume on the positive music, can then change the temporary frequency of these and can now take away the overall resonance that this particular other thing thrived on. So yes, I know there's things that feel bad by themselves no matter what you do with them, and then there's other things that are a result of overall resonance. So I hope that cleared a lot of things up, and it's another reason why I really love Luigi's Mansion. Let me do the thing that a lot of YouTubers do. Hit the like button! Depending on if you truly resonate with this, or you happen to experience one of many positive emotions which you rule out as like. Comment if you want to add something, or play with me, and then I can be an alchemist and turn that into gold somehow. Subscribe if you want, and see my thumbnails lumped in with a bunch of other thumbnails that you see day to day. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I am Erwin Yo, also Sam Lambert, signing out. Take care, fellas.